Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Welcome to the show at Rise Up Show with me, your host, the Queen Bee, Dani. How are you feeling? As we chat this morning to the devilishly handsome, the fabulously wonderful, the incredibly knowledgeable Mr. Fidel Hill, the modern man. Good morning. Jodie Salt, good morning. Babna Reddy, good morning. Elise Woodbine, good morning. The devilishly handsome Ian Dixon, good morning, sir.
Shut up, for f***'s sake. Jesus.
The fantastic Lizzie Jackson Barrett, good morning. Josephine, Sandra, everybody, good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show, Rise Up Show with me, your host, Dani Walsh. You've got me today. I'm back. It's been a funny old week so far. We're on Wednesday, and I had an extended bank holiday because I decided that actually I was gonna do a little bit of looking after myself. So not only did we have the bank holiday weekend. Bear with me. I need to go get the shit weather map. Hang on there. Oh, there we go. That's old school shit weather map. I was just explaining to Fidel yesterday how I used to draw because it took over for me yesterday. And I'll explain why in just a second. Quite a traumatic thing. What happened? So I'll tell you about that this morning. How are we all? Are we all feeling good? Is the sun shining where you are? Apologies for my husky voice. I'm a little bit squeaky today, and I would like to say it's because I've been partying like a rock star, but actually it's not that at all. I think it's hay fever. I've been having a little sniffle and a little cough, and our Ivy's doing the same. So we're all tested and we're all COVID-free, but I'm all husky. I'll sound like I've been smoking 40 fags. I haven't. You'll be pleased to know I haven't. I've been taking care of myself and doing nice things and beautiful things with the family. But yesterday we had the glorious Fidel Hill come and join us. He stepped in to the fray yesterday and hosted the show with the gorgeous Emma Godfrey. It was a brilliant show yesterday, but I wasn't scheduled to not do the show. I was meant to be here to do the show, but my dogs got into a fight on Monday, and it was quite scary, y'all. In fact, it was really scary. I'm going to put a shout out in the hive. Actually, we've got some incredible dog trainers and dog behaviouralists in the hive, who I would love to speak to, because the dogs were really overstimulated. God bless them. And one of them isn't that social around other dogs anyway. So anyway, they ended up having a fight. So we had to get them sorted yesterday. They were feeling quite poorly off of the back of having a little scuffle with each other. So it wasn't expected that I was off yesterday. But it goes to show, doesn't it, that we, in my mind, I was creating something really amazing, and it was amazing, and we had a fantastic time. If you haven't seen I did a little testimonial video for Cube Events and Debbie Marks, who came and helped me create that fantastic event for my family. It was brilliant, but it did put a bit of a downer, and I was like, oh bloody hell! I didn't think that. Obviously, you have to think about these things, and it's just been us and the dogs for years and years and years, and then all of a sudden I'm hosting this party, and you wonder why they get overstimulated. Anyway, they're all right, they're okay. We're keeping them separate, and we're going to speak to some experts, and hopefully they'll be okay, because it was a very real sort of conversation about rehoming and all sorts, and it was dead sad. So it goes to show these things can happen. So if any of you, I know we've got the incredible Nikki French, we've got Joe Wilson. So I might be reaching out to you girls today to have a little conversation about what we can do. That was why I was off yesterday. That's why I've got a little husky voice. But bloody hell, my party was brilliant. It was absolutely amazing. It was really lovely as well, just to see my friends and family relax. And it was, I was able to do the same as well. I was able to relax. So ordinarily, when we have family parties, my sister and I and my mum will be in the kitchen, like making and doing, and actually it was all taken care of. So it was really lovely to be able to do that together and just relax. I don't think I'll be doing it again for a while. It was a lot. I think family parties they are a lot. So I'm glad I did it. And I will be looking forward very much to the next thing that we do, that we celebrate as a family. We'll be going on actual holiday, is taking, the girls and Wallace somewhere where it's just quiet, it's just us, and do that sort of the other side of things as well. So yeah, really, really lovely. I am fired up and ready, you lot, for the next bit. We have some exciting things coming up. We've got the Summer Swarm coming up. Let me know if you've booked your place. We're going to be filling those up. I've got a huge announcement tomorrow. I like to do these sorts of things too, yeah. But there is something coming up. I'm going to be working directly with one of my mentors and coaches, this is going to involve the Summer Swarm. This is going to involve big things for you guys. If you want to get involved, I will be telling you more about that in an announcement tomorrow evening in the Hive. So tomorrow evening in the Hive. I know it's Be Heard tonight. I'm very excited to see all my Be Hearders and my Be Inspired gorgeous lovelies. So big announcement tomorrow night, but tomorrow morning we have got Natasha Bray's Story Mind coming in to do a whole takeover. It is their collaboration book launch tomorrow, and you can all get involved with that as well. So that's tomorrow. I've got, 16 gorgeous, gorgeous contributors, plus Natasha, is going to be coming to talk to us about the phenomenal book that's being launched tomorrow, how you can get involved, with loads of prizes to be won and stuff. So don't miss the show tomorrow. Big things coming up. One of those contributors is joining us this morning. As you will have noticed, in the last couple of weeks, we've had a bevy of incredible humans coming to join us in the run-up to book launch. And we'll be speaking to some more of them as well after the book launch as well. So you can find out more about these incredible people who have been involved in what I know to be an incredible book. So please do join us tomorrow for that. But this morning, we've got one of the contributors on to come and talk to us more about what she gets up to in the world. She is a wonderful soul, and I'm so happy. She told me she was a little bit nervous, and then we were just having a little chat backstage. And I have to remind everybody, and I've got to say this to you, if it's one of your aspirations to be on this show, if it's one of the things that are on your to-do list, who's mentioning me? Joe, I need to speak to you about the dogs. I love that. That was like a bat signal. I love it. If one of us needs the other, like in this whole community, we just like shout out and then we're there. We just put the put the bee signal out, like the bee logo in the clouds. I love it. When people do come onto this show, sometimes they do feel a little bit nervous. It feels bigger sometimes than what we know it to be. And as I tell everybody, informed our incredible guest this morning that you lot are bloody wonderful. You are the nicest community to come in and speak with. And I know that you'll give her lots and lots of support as we have a chat this morning about all the incredible things that she gets up to. Please welcome to the show, Rise Up Show, the glorious Rachel Rowsell. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, she is. So you've had a chance to kind of be backstage now, partake in the blue M&Ms and what have you that we have stored back there for you.
Yeah.
She's got all calla lilies and what have you surrounding her in our in the green room in our mind. I can't wait to have a proper telly show on Facebook, off of Facebook on the telly, where I get a proper green room and I get to do all those things like spoil me guests.
Oh, that'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
I know. And apologies that I couldn't do that this morning, but we did get to have a little chat before, which was a little treat for me as well. Rachel, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Okay, so I'm an intuitive success and fulfillment coach, and I help women to connect with their intuition so that they can define success on their terms and create a life aligned to them. It's about getting to the core of you and stripping away the roles and the conditioning and
because there's a lot that we carry with us into our entrepreneurial lives, into our business lives. And it's difficult, isn't it? Understanding which bit is us and which bit is the conditioning. Like, we've got to do that piece of work on ourselves where we get to strip back the layers and go, actually, do I believe these things of myself and of business and of clients and of sales and all of these sorts of things? Or am I taught to believe these things, and as such, I'm behaving in a certain kind of way? Is that the sort of work that you have, that you look at? Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And also it's kind of like a holistic, so yeah, I work holistically with women. So it's also in, their day-to-day life. So like one person's version of success is very different to another's, and it, success can be living grid-free in the woods, or just being a really good mum, or having, a multi-million-pound business, or, whatever it is. It's about getting clear on actually what success looks like for you.
Because we get lots of shoulds, don't we? Success should look like this, or success should look like that. And if you're not really in tune with what success looks like for you, any success is difficult to attain. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. Because, and this is where sort of my story started, or this started for me, is that most of my adult life was striving for society, what I call society's version of success, which is very externally based. Yeah, I don't know if you'd agree, but
I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Yeah. And again, if we look at, specifically the entrepreneurial space, the online space, there's a lot of dick swinging going around. There's a lot of, pardon my language, but there's a lot of like, ooh, this is my big business. You want a big business too. Yeah. Let's have this big business. And it's all very like, like I'm not really for that. And also there's a lot of attraction marketing, aspirational marketing that goes on that isn't necessarily true. So as well, we're being fed a ruse of success as well. Oh, that looks really fabulous and glamorous that person's doing. Like, oh, they're on a beach with a laptop. No one wants to be on a beach with the laptop. Stop it.
Sand in your keys.
So yeah, we do. We get a lot of this sort of faux aspirational stuff. When I talk about confidence quite a lot, Rachel, and I think confidence and success often sit in the same spot. But when we talk about true success or true confidence, because I talk about confidence being the quiet knowledge and acceptance of yourself, as opposed to the perception of confidence, which is all jazz hands and being and success sits in a similar space. True success. Would you agree?
Absolutely, yeah. And I suppose I just use slightly different words, but it means the same thing. So it's about finding your authentic confidence, and that's about being happy in who you are, not being the person you think you're supposed to be to meet, this image of, whatever role it is in life. We've thrown all this noise, aren't we, and these expectations that as a mum we're supposed to be like this, our house is supposed to be this way, we're supposed to look a certain way, we're supposed to have this successful business, and it's like being, for me, it felt like being put on a conveyor belt, and I just didn't want that anymore. But it took me a long time to figure it out.
And is this how did you come to this kind of work? Was it your experience and then taking that experience and then realize, because lots of survivors of different things serve. So even if the survival for you has been you've survived this chasing a success that isn't necessarily what we think it is, or chasing so many successes that we're spinning all these plates like this and we're just dropping all of them and not successful at anything. Is that something that you've experienced and then learned from and then serve in this space? Or how did you come to do the work that you do?
Yeah, definitely. I was a teenage mum, so my first two children I had at 16 and 18. So when I sat my GCSEs this time of year, I was 5-6 months pregnant.
Gosh.
And I really took on board this teenage mum stigma. And I was determined I was proving it wrong. So I went on a mission. And so my baby, she was born in the September. So I started A-levels then, and then went on to do a degree and just carried on from there, really. Went into full-time work. and just strove and strove and strove, got a really good job, the house, all of that. I did everything I thought I should do.
Right.
Proving them wrong. I was steaming ahead, but there was just this niggle, that something's not right, something's missing. And for a long time, I thought there must be something wrong with me because I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. Why do I feel like there's something missing? Like this discontent. And it wasn't until probably when I was 40, I'm 44 now, everything came to a bit of a head, and I started quite an intensive self-development journey. And there was a few things which sort of tipped me over the edge, but one of the ones that I can share, some of them are a little bit private.
Yeah, of course.
Was I was putting out the recycling, and I'd made something with lentils, I don't know what it was, and beans, which wasn't my usual thing. I was having a healthy week, so I thought I'll definitely put those tins in the recycle bin because that will look good in the recycle bin, won't it? People will think. And then I thought, oh my God, this is how much I'm living in fear of what people think of me.
What you're putting in your bin.
Yeah.
Wow.
The fear of the judgment was it was kind of, I suppose it was two-sided, because that fear of judgment is what made me strive for what I thought was success, but also it's so unfulfilling because you're doing it all for someone else's reaction,
And even whose reaction? Because the them that we have in our mind is often not real. And what I mean is I hear a lot of this, people, what will people think? Which people? Because actually, if we do that work, that people comes down specifically to maybe one or two people in your past and not people in general. And that's a really interesting concept to come across, is that people isn't real. The them, what will they think? Okay, well, let's look at it. Who's they? Who's the they that gives a shit what you put in your bin?
Yeah, exactly. No one.
No one's asked.
But at that point, I hadn't become aware. I suppose, I was becoming aware, and then I went on this self-development journey. And actually, there was a couple of really sort of, big aha moments. One was just listening to an audiobook while I was walking the dogs, and it was about, I think it's called 13 reasons, or 13 things mentally strong people don't do, because I always had trouble standing up for myself, and this was what I was trying to get over, this not being able to be me. And one of the chapters was they don't give their power away, and I thought, wow, yeah. And it just suddenly dawned on me that that's what I've been doing my whole life, was by caring so much about what other people thought, I was giving my power away, and I'd made myself a victim in my own life and attracted people that reinforce that, because that's what you do, isn't it?
And I mean, becoming a parent so young as well, I'm making assumptions here, but there would have been essentially a team of people around you, maybe even your own family, that were sort of telling you to do things in a certain way, or school or the media making perceptions of maybe you should do things in a certain way. And that, as somebody who is obviously, given the things that you've created and what you do and your journey, someone so intelligent, that must have really left you at that kind of at that battle. And again, that's an assumption. Was that the case? Did you have people around you that was, you should be doing it this way, you should be doing it that way? And maybe as a mum, was you able to make those intuitive decisions that you might have done being a little bit older and more in control? Or
I definitely did intuitive decisions, because I had no awareness of intuition at that point. None whatsoever. I was all stuck up here, what I should be doing. And my mum was so supportive, and she actually did the first A level with me, so she set me on that road, to continuing.
Amazing.
But yeah, no, I just hadn't until I suppose with a lot of people, you reach a certain point where you think this needs to stop now, because and I used to wonder if other people felt the same way, if other people thought, is this what we're here for? Like, you know, because I used to think, surely there's got to be more to life than this, going to work and having that daily, you know, you just your day in, day out holiday, you know, 1 holiday a year, 2 holidays a year. And it always just felt like there should be something else.
Right.
But everyone else just seemed to be going along and doing it.
They're all right with it. You're looking around going, are you sure you're happy with this, Sheila?
Yeah. So, then you think it's you, don't you?
Yeah. Like, am I strange in this? I was talking to my mum about my granddad, and I know very little about my maternal granddad, because he died when I was relatively young, and they didn't have a super close relationship. But I was asking my mum about my granddad, and she said, all I remember is that he just worked and worked and worked for the 1 holiday a year. He just didn't even look up, didn't look at us, didn't really interact with us, wasn't really asked. And then for 2 weeks a year, as long as they could get on a plane and go to Mallorca, that he was happy. And I'm like, but if you've got your kids for the finite amount of time that we've got our kids, then you're just looking at 18 holidays essentially with your children, and then that's it. You're done. You've just ignored them for the rest of the time, except for 18 holidays. And you're looking and you're thinking, bloody hell, all that work for that little snippet of time. And you do feel strange wanting something a bit different.
Yeah. I sort of carried on with this self-development journey, which was going really, really well. And then I was gifted a midlife gift. My 5th, I've got now 5 children, so I've had 2 other. So she was born last February, and everything went fine. The pregnancy was fine, although I was a geriatric mother, you know.
So. You've been 36 and you're a geriatric mother. Yeah. Stop it.
Well, the funniest thing was I went from being a teenage mom and having that.
We'll just do it both ways, shall we?
To being like the other end of the scale. And I did see the irony in that, you know, when I was going to the hospital, and then I was a geriatric mom. But and then 24 hours after the birth, something happened, and I fell ill, and I have a few memories of what happened, but essentially I went for a scan, I had to have an operation. They found bleeding inside, something had gone wrong inside. And then the next thing that I was conscious for was my partner telling me, you're in intensive care, you've been here for 5 days, you've had 5 operations. And
bloody hell, Rachel.
I later found out they'd called the family up after the second one to say their goodbyes. Because they didn't think I was going to make it. And as part of that experience, as part of that time in intensive care, there's a thing called, I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, it's hallucinations anyway. But while I was in intensive care for, I think it was at least a day and a half, because I remember it went overnight, I believed I died, like 100% believed I died. So I remember dying. I had all the regrets. Like, why did I worry about all this stuff? Why did I not do more of this? Why, you know, like all that stuff. I've built like this big house. I've got all this stuff, and now I'm dead, you know, and I can't take any of it with me. And what a waste of time that was. But obviously, I didn't die.
No, you are.
Yeah, but it was off the back of that. I mean, that I'd already done a lot of self-development work, but that was like the catalyst of.
God, you got to meet yourself. That's like an Ebenezer Scrooge moment, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like the biggest gift I see. Obviously, at the time, it was really traumatic, but
yeah, you don't wish that on somebody. But I mean, if you're gonna. If you're going to have a close call, have a reflective close call. If you're going to do it, wow. Like, you get...
Yeah, it was just the most clarifying experience that I could ever have asked for, you know.
Wow.
and it showed me what happened then. Once, so for a month or so, I was living in fear. I was really fearful of, because they weren't sure if there'd be, you know, if I got an infection, my life was still at risk and blah, blah, blah. And I came out of hospital on about a week or two before we went into lockdown in this country. So then there was that risk of the virus.
Yeah, if your immune system's compromised in any way, shape or form and you're vulnerable,
yeah, but once
a lot of people felt scared.
Yeah. But once that had sort of cleared and once I was feeling better physically, I just had, it was like a download. And I could see all my life's path, which has been fairly, you know, rocky. And it was like it was lit up like flags, like ding, 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 ding. And then it was just dropped in, like, this is what you're supposed to be helping other women with. Your journey. That's what you're supposed to be doing. So that's what's led me here.
Wow. And I can see everyone in the comments are like, shit the bed. That's a lot, Rachel. That's, I mean, and incredible at the same time, because of course, going through something like that is traumatic, however we look at it. And from an outsider looking in, the only way I can connect with that is going through this with my dad and being called in and being on the outside looking in. Now, my dad came through that, but not able to articulate. He lost a lot in that sort of space. So to be able to come through that and be reflective and then think, actually, God, in the richness of your life and everything that you've experienced from such a young age to now, you do have a lot of wisdom and you do have a lot of, like, my gosh, how painfully wonderful to get to that kind of fork in the road and then be able to turn that completely on its head and then do the work that you do now. I'm like, everyone's like this, oh my God. And And so what does your work look like today? Like, how do you work with people? What does that path look like? At what point do people come to you? Do they find you? Do you find that people are like magnetized to you now, or do you have to go out and find those people in your, like, how's that happened? I am invested.
Because I'm still early-ish stages, I still find I have to, you know, I'm not going out to find people because visibility has been a bit of a tricky one for me. It's been something I've had to overcome because this was never my, like, you know, I worked for 20 years. Like, no, this was like dropped on my lap. And like, come on, you've got to make use of this life's wisdom. This is what you're here for. So it's like, oh, okay. You know, so I mean, the starting point with most women is self-awareness, because until we're aware of what's going on and how we're creating the reality we're creating, because we generally create it, don't we?
Yeah.
Then we can't start to undo it and strip some of those layers away and that conditioning away. And that, I think the bit I find so rewarding is when people realise the conditioning, when you start questioning stuff.
It's like a light switches on and you suddenly look at everything and go.
And it becomes addictive, doesn't it? Like you start questioning everything.
Right.
And then
I remember reading Jen Sincero's You Are a Badass. And as part of that, she was like, if you'd have spoke to me 10 years ago, and she was talking about manifestation. If you'd have talked to me 10 years ago, I would have laughed at you. 5 years ago, I was interested. Now I am evangelical, card carrying, riding the rodeo, shouting at anybody that will come across. Because the more that you awaken to yourself, the more that you see yourself and you see how much how much power we really have, it suddenly becomes like, it does become addictive, because you think, oh God, look, there's all of this here. Like I sit here, sometimes I think, bloody hell, this is big what we're sat on. This community is big, like the potential we've got. When you start to wake up to that, you can't help but want to know more and want to break it down more and want to have more impact. You just can't help it. And I love it. Everyone in here is saying the same thing. Nikki Kinsella's in the house. I mean, this story is just phenomenal. And just touching on something you said a second ago around visibility, one of those things that we often do when we find that we have a calling is that we want to help people, but then we've got to start telling people about how we can help people. And that's quite a scary process, isn't it?
Very scary, yeah.
It's really fucking scary.
it brings, everything comes up, imposter, and because of my background, because of living for so long within the fear of judgment, that imposter syndrome for me was massive. You know, it was really big. But I'm mostly there with it. You know, sometimes it comes up and says, "Ooh."
But I mean, the work that you've just done, it takes us nicely to the work that you are just about to kind of wrap up and complete with the incredible Natasha Bray and the Story Mind Mastermind, because that is a huge piece of visibility. Being a part of a book. And I think when we're looking at visibility, I find this with my speaking clients as well, and with myself when I wrote my books, is that there is a huge visibility piece in sharing your story, and you've got to work out which bits of your story are appropriate, which bits of your story are going to help. When people are speaking, it's important that we're speaking from the scar and not the wound. If we're all going around like sharing all of the bits that are bleeding, how is that really going to help anybody? We've got to work out, you know, we've got to come to the people who we want to involve in healing, like in a healed space, right? And I think the beautiful thing about Natasha's Story Mind is that actually you as a collective have been on a healing journey. I mean, individually as the work you've done on yourself, but actually as a group of people. How have you found that?
Yeah, I've found it an absolutely incredible experience, and it's just been so much more healing than I could have ever imagined it would be. Just without all of her extra, you know, amazing bits of therapy she does, just the writing process, and I'm sure you probably found that with yours, and it gives you new insights and new perspectives and realizations.
I think when you start having to give your experience words, because when we're going through these things, we don't give them words, they're just experiences. So we're just experiencing them viscerally. We're just experiencing them emotionally. When we start to actually give language to that, it really starts to put things in order a little bit, and you can really look at it like outside of yourself, because everything that has happened to you, even your thoughts on things, your opinions on things, they're inside of you. When you eject them, is the only way I can describe it, and have it in front of you, you then realize, my God, this is powerful, or my God, that was intense. I remember having to take to my bed for a good couple of days, especially writing about my dad and all of that sort of stuff. I had to go and have a sit down and a glass of wine afterwards to come through it all. So going through that as a collective been easier or different, do you think, than maybe if you was to go on and write like that just on your own?
I think it's definitely been easier because you've got that support there of other ladies, and also it's not just you in the book, is it? So
right. So you're all kind of in that vulnerability spot together. You're all sharing that bit of yourself. And for somebody reading your chapter, what's your hope for the person that reads your chapter? What would you hope to leave them with? Obviously, we can't give too much away because the book isn't out until tomorrow. But what would you want so this is an anthology piece. They're all separate chapters, all separate stories, all incredible. And then we've interviewed pretty much everyone bar one or two from the Story Mind, and we will be interviewing those people in the not too distant future, the next week or so. If we come across your chapter, what do you want somebody to go away with? What's your kind of gift to them from the chapter?
I think really I want them to go away with the knowledge that they get to create their own reality, that their own path, that and have the power to, and to recognise that we have so many choices. Because for a long time I felt like I didn't have many choices.
None.
I did, I just wasn't aware of them.
Yeah. Or we're not, like you say, not aware. We're not kind of self-aware of our power enough to realise that our actions and reactions dictate our outcomes pretty much 100% of the time. Even when we're served up something that we think is, impossible to escape, how we react to it will dictate how that works out. And it is a really powerful concept, and I cannot wait to sit down and have a really good read of your chapter. You've had everybody in your hands this morning as you've been sharing your story, and it's such a phenomenal story, and of strength and of wonder and of magic and all of those things, and the fact that you get to bring that to the world through your work now and get to unlock that in other people is just absolutely phenomenal. And thank you so much for hearing your calling and going for it. You are a phenomenal human. Rachel, tell us, how do we get hold of you, and have you got anything coming up apart from the book, of course, that we could get involved with?
Yeah, so probably the best place to go is my website, which is rachelspace.co.uk, and then all my social links are on there, and all my offerings are on there. So I do sort of empowerment sessions, one-to-one sessions. I've got a DIY masterclass on, I call it Sacred Self-Care for Success. So that's my whole theme. It's about connecting in with you. It's a bit of spirituality.
Amazing.
Let's create our life from, a solid foundation that actually aligns to us.
And it is absolutely necessary, And I love the more conversations that we have here on the show, the more as a community we're coming back to connection to self, and the looking after yourself actually is pivotal and foundational in what you can then go and build, whatever your version of success looks like, be it having enough money to pay the bills, be it being able to have, nice times with the families, being able to go on holiday when you want, whatever that success looks like for you. That bit right in the center, that heart right in the center is the key. And thank you so much. Rachel, could you do me a favor and pop in the comments your links so that we can so you don't need to do it now, it's absolutely fine, but when we jump off, you go back onto the Queen Bee Dani page on Facebook, pop your links in there so that we can follow your journey some more, because I am absolutely 100% sure there is more to come from you. Rachel Rowsell, thank you for joining us on the show. Rise Up Show.
Thank you for having me.
You smashed it, mate. Well done. That was the lovely, lovely, lovely Rachel Rowsell. Oh my God, what a story this morning. Is anyone else feeling inspired? So these are the stories that I hope to bring to you for you to think. Imagine you've been in that place where Rachel was. In that hospital room, making those decisions about herself, and then being able to then move into this space where she's making so much positive change and impact for the people that are around her. It's just phenomenal. You have that kind of power, my angels. All right, that's our show today done. Tomorrow is a big one. We have a bumper show for you. We have 16 phenomenal contributors from Natasha Bray's Story Mind Mastermind book. We will be revealing all on that tomorrow. Please do come and join us. There are prizes up for grabs we've got bundles of incredible things. I'll be sharing those with you tomorrow. Please do make sure that you're watching along at 9:30 in the morning for more Showing Up, Wising Up and Rising Up. Make sure you're following me on Instagram at the Queen Bee Dani. We're still going for Operation Swipe Up. I want to hit that 4,000 milestone in the next couple of weeks, and we're almost there. So do share the show with your friends. Follow us at the Queen Bee Dani here on Facebook and indeed across the socials. Now we'll see you tomorrow for the Natasha Bray Story Mind takeover on the Show Up Rise Up Show. I'll see you later. Ta-ra.